Good morning, everybody. We'll be hanging around here a little bit until everyone checks in with us, but we'll be heading up to the Temple of the Winds shortly. Just listen to the lovely woodland noise in the meantime. So do check in with us, all our regular viewers, our regular visitors. Let us know you're here. Don't forget you can ask plenty of questions, and we've got a little surprise for you on our way up. I've got a guest with us today. There's going to be another ethereal voice, so it's not just me and my left hand. It's going to be Andrea and her right hand.
Hi!
Andrea is one of the house team here at Mount Stewart, and she's going to thankfully be here and keep me on track with all of the dates and sort of the history of the Temple of the Winds itself, which is fantastic because it's not my strength. So thank you very much, Andrea.
You're very welcome. I'll enjoy it, not getting outside into the sunshine.
Definitely. Normally locked away in with all the collection in the house.
Inside the house, yes.
Fantastic. So the game's been upped a little bit at the moment. The camera should be a lot smoother now. I bought a gimbal last week, so we should have a nice smooth picture now, which is going to be really good for the live stream, so that's fantastic. It might just need to be reset every now and then, because I can actually see it doing it now. The horizon is actually here, and it's starting to tilt off a little bit, so I'm just going to have to sort of reset it every now and then like that. Good morning, Jonathan, joining us. So any of our regular viewers, check in, say hello, and don't forget, on our way up to the temple you can ask your questions in advance for Andrea. Any questions about the temple, its building history, any normal stories, things like that. And I'll be talking about obviously all things outdoors, woodland ecology. We'll have a chat about the loch and the vista and some of the designed elements of the landscape here at Mount Stewart as well, so you can just see it out there. Now we are next to Port Ferry Road, and although the traffic's a lot less, there is still a bit of traffic out there. It might be picking it up, but hopefully it won't interrupt things too much, and we can hear the woodland birds that are all around us at the moment. Good morning, Jenny, thanks for joining us. So without further ado, we'll head on up. So get those questions coming in, and I've got a few questions lined up for Andrea as well, just to keep things moving. Keep you on your toes, Andrea?
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic. Good morning, Barbara. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, Gillian. Morning, Alison. How's it going? Good morning, Lynn. So as you can see, it is an absolutely gorgeous day here today. It's been crystal clear most of the day. There's a little bit of a heat haze starting to come in at the moment. So I think we can still just about see the Mourns from the view up at the temple. But it'll certainly be a cracking view. It's low tide on the loch at the moment, so plenty to see. I remember one of our live streams, I think it was last week and the week before actually, people were asking, have I heard a cuckoo yet? Heard one on Sunday, and we had another report in yesterday of cuckoos in the area, so they have definitely arrived here. Has anybody else heard one yet? Do let us know. It's been fantastic seeing spring progress so quickly at the moment. All the primroses are well in flower. Seen a lot of the dog violets coming up as well. There's actually quite a lot of those in flower down towards the Brackish marsh, and that's where we'll be going after the temple. Good morning, Anne. Good morning, Helen. It is a lovely morning. Here we are coming up.
Never fails to take my breath away up here. It is absolutely gorgeous.
That's our excuse for walking up the hill, of course. Talking and walking does give a little bit of a breathness. There we are, look at that. Absolutely stunning. You'll have to excuse the slightly wonky horizon. The gimbal keeps losing its... there we go, just reset it. Good morning, Jenny. So here we are at the Temple of the Winds. Quite a big building. Andrea's going to tell us a little bit about it in a moment in case nobody knows, and a few little stories. So, Andrea, shall we take a seat on the bench or shall we step back so we can sort of see the whole building?
It's up to yourself. The building does have the wow factor, which, the reason why people are watching and get to see it again while they're sitting at home. But the temple is just a fantastic building. It's one of the architect's, James Arthenian Stewart's masterpieces. James, well, he was an architect who fell in love with Greek architecture. At age 29, he walked to Italy. He wasn't a rich man, and he fell in love with ancient ruins. Now, at that time, Italian ancient ruins were being fairly much documented by nearly everybody, but very few people were going to Greece. So he went to Greece and started documenting the ruins there, and in fact wrote a book. He then used that knowledge, that architectural style, in his own architectural drawings, and this is an example of one of his pieces. Now, it's the only building that he built here in Ireland, and it is considered one of his finest. He actually built two Temple of the Winds, or at least he designed two Temple of the Winds. The other one is in Strangford Lough. It was built about 20 years before this one. It was surrounded by the lake, and it was used as a folly. I believe today it's actually, part of it is now a dairy. But here at Mount Stewart, they decided to build it as a folly, somewhere for the family to come and enjoy, and especially the views up here. So you can understand why he picked this vista, this view, to have the building put here. It is absolutely fantastic. The temple itself is based on an ancient Greek ruin called the Tower of the Winds. And actually you can still go and visit. I was there a few years ago, and it is fantastic to see the original inspiration of James, where he got his ideas from. The Tower of the Winds in Athens is actually a clock, believe it or not. It's an 8-sided building clock. The water came down from the Parthenon down into the clock, so it was holy water, being blessed by the gods, and it kept the time. Now, the original had friezes around the outside of the building. It was at each of the directional points of a compass, and each of the friezes was based on one of the winds, wind deities, gods or goddesses of the winds, and it is rather spectacular. Here at Mount Stewart, we don't actually have the friezes on the outside of the building, but Temple of the Winds, certainly on a windy day, does lend itself the name very well up here when it's quite exposed, as you can see it today.
That's it. Funny enough, just as we come around the side of the building there, it's been still most of the morning, just picking up a tiny bit of a breeze there now, which is nice. So we're just standing on the, is this the front portico, is it?
It's one of the porticos, yes. There's two porticos, and both of them were designed actually to be able to stand on top of outside and be able to enjoy the outdoors from even a higher view than where we're standing now. So, you know, you can imagine you've just had a lovely meal, you go through the window, because it's not doors, I'm afraid, there are windows, you climb through the window onto the top of the portico, and there you see the fantastic views out over the loch.
You can see our reflection. You are on camera after all.
Oh, drat.
So yeah, absolutely gorgeous day to be doing this. This couldn't have been a better day to fall for this particular live stream today. So thank you all for joining. I've seen lots of new people checking in there. Hello Marlene from Portavogie. Hi Emma, we're missing you too. We're missing everyone here. It's going to be so good to be able to welcome you back to Mount Stewart, and hopefully sooner rather than later. Jenny says it's nowhere nice as ours. Oh, well, you might say that. And says such a beautiful view from the temple. Yeah, I mean, you just look It is absolutely gorgeous today. So we're looking out across Strangford Lough here. For anyone who doesn't know this, if in case you're viewing from somewhere else, let us know where you're viewing from. We've got Strangford Lough here, which is the upper end of the loch. That little tower on the hill is Scrabbo Tower, and this is the edge of the sea plantation. So just orientation from where we are here. So the house and the main gardens are way over here. This is Temple Hill we're on here, and New Hill just behind us. Basically, might just be able to pick them out on camera there. The Mourne Mountains, a sort of just hazy shroud over them, right over there at the moment. And we've got Peggy Island, and we've got Chapel Islands a bit further around the corner here. These are fantastic grey seal haul outs actually. Anyone who's been to the lookout here when in the main car park when they arrive, that's one of the areas where you can join some of our visitor welcome team in interpreting the loch there for you. But it's, I mean, I can't get over how much of a good day it is here today. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Marie from Greystone Wicklow. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mandy. How's it going? It's great to have so many people joining us today, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So if you've got any questions for myself or Andrea, who's with us here, obviously talking about the temple and the history as well, I'm sure she'd enjoy other questions.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. Just to sort of kick a few things off, it's interesting being up here at the temple itself, where kind of this is all about the designed vista. This is a designed landscape here at Mount Stewart, and the Temple of the Winds, as Andrea was talking about, this is kind of the epitome of that designed vista view. It's an intended view where we have these lines of sight to Scrabbo Tower. There's across to the Mournes themselves over there, and as we've done a bit of research over the years actually, commissioned a domain development project which is looking at some of these design landscape pieces. So I'm just going to bring it down here without the shadow. There we go. So this is just an idea here of Mount Stewart, and all of these arrows that point all over the place, these are all parts of the design landscape, the design vistas that were intended when the landscape was laid out and planted on the estate. So we're here at the temple at the moment, where are we? Just here. So you can see the big main, and there's a southern one here that's actually lost at the moment, so that would be this view out down here. So we're looking at maybe we might possibly restore some of these vistas in the future. There's lots of things running in the background as we sort of work through understanding the domain and its history. So it's a really nice opportunity today to sort of bring the sort of the built history together with, you know, my streams and Mount Stewart moments, which have, yeah, they've been focused on the outdoors. Of course they're going to be, because that's kind of what I do. But there's other crossovers as well. Andrea, you'll remember earlier on over winter I was asking about moss, wasn't I?
Yes. Oh yes.
Which is in the house team, they have a problem with some certain species of moss, like the case-bearing clothes moss.
Yes, clothes moss, things like that. We tend not to like them inside the house. They do more damage than good. So where Toby enjoys seeing the little creepy crawlies outside, when they come into the house, I'm afraid they get a new term and they're pests. So they're not as well liked indoors.
But that's it. It's only a very small selection of the species.
It is only a
couple,
yeah.
But I was particularly looking for in the cellar of the house, and actually in the cellar here of the temple itself. It's the herald moth, which they actually hibernate and they overwinter in kind of like caves, and quite often, obviously, the modern cave is cellars of buildings. So it's a bit hard with it actually being so bright today. You can't really see this very well, but basically got these walkways that follow the entire circumference of the temple here, and then there's the lower cellar rooms, kind of like a vaulted ceilings, isn't there?
There's a few outside that allow, obviously, for when the folly was being used for dining and entertainment purposes. They would have brought things up and stored them up here rather than getting carted up every time. So there's about 4 or 5 rooms between here and the end of the cellars to allow that storage to take place. Then you have the basement floor, which is where the cooking took place. There was actually 2 ranges in the cellar, the basement. of the temple. The ground floor, which is the one that most people will recognise, it was just a staging area, because when they actually had their banquets, when they actually came up with their food and entertainment, they went on to the first floor, because that's the room that is highly decorated. It has the beautiful floor that has been inlaid. It was actually by a local man, a man called John Ferguson. He was from Belfast, and in fact there's a connection between this and the main house itself, because if you've been inside the main house into what we call the breakfast room, the little dining room, you'll know that there is a beautiful inlaid floor there as well. And actually John Ferguson did both floors at around about the same time. There was a few years between them, but you know, they were around about the same time. We're going here now towards where the servants would have entered the temple. They didn't get to go through the nice doors, so you literally came in up from the house and would have made their way in through the door, which you can see hopefully now. And that's where you'll, from here, between here and the temple, are those vaulted rooms where they would have stored the, you know, the things like tables and chairs, extra pieces that they would have probably needed for the entertainment of the family and their friends.
It's I mean, I love buildings just about as much as the next same person. And I know I'm sort of saying this slightly, sort of like biting my tongue a little bit, because of course I am an outdoors person. Hello everybody, see our shadows. But things I really appreciate about these buildings as an outdoor man is the work that goes into these buildings. So, you know, even really simple things here, like this amazing cobbled pathway as part of the servant. So, you know, this was the area that was off show, you know, it was behind the scenes. The owners wouldn't have seen these places very often. This is
no, this was just the servants would have got it. But here at Mount Stewart, I have to say the family were very good to the servants, knew that a good group of people in an environment that worked well for them meant that their life was easier, which meant it made more sense for the family to improve that, to make sure that they were kept in a way that they would work well and do their duties properly. So the family did not skimp on making sure that their servants were well looked after, even to the point of just having a nice entrance for to come in to you know, start serving them and preparing for those banquets here and at the main house itself as well. You know, the family were very generous,
which was quite a rarity in the day.
It would have been quite unusual. It would have been quite unusual. We certainly saw that. For those of you who might have read the Mount Stewart website, we had a boating tragedy that happened 125 years ago, where a group of servants went on a trip onto the Strangford Lough. They were out for the day and unfortunately didn't come back, and the family were really distraught, and we have the records of the family being upset. We know that they looked after the families of those servants who passed away, and you know, it's not the usual. It wasn't the usual. But here at Mount Stewart, the family and the servants, they worked together. You know, they were part of the same environment.
It's a great story to hear. There's, if you go onto our Facebook page, scroll down a few posts, there's a little post about that, because it was just the anniversary a few days ago of that incident. 9th. And there's a research project that is all behind this as well, and there should be links there so you can actually check that out as well and find out a bit more about it. So, I suppose one of the other elements of the temple, so this is me getting my outdoorsman hat on again, is you've got some of these historic plantings that still remain here. So we've got these fantastic old yew trees. So this is one of them here. So we have a couple of these. Both of them are retained trees. So these are ones that we specially look after because of their sort of significance within the landscape. Now, I might ask you for a bit of a scale here.
Okay.
It's hard to get scale on the mobile cameras here. Do you want to be on camera?
Oh,
go on, there we go. So Andrea's good. We're going to get her on camera just to say hello. There we go. So it's quite a big old yew tree here. Really an old tree. So this is so this probably dates back to pretty much when the Temple of the Winds were built. So when was that? It was 17...
1786.
1786, there you go. So I'm glad it's not just me that forgets about the years of things. There's actually a second one just here as well. So like a lot of the work we do on the estate, we can't just necessarily leave these things alone. So if you look at if you can see the crown of the tree is just starting to thin out a little bit. They're quite exposed up here, so they do get a bit of a sort of salty wind bashing. They generally survive pretty well, and this particular tree we're monitoring at the moment, because it does have this sort of crown dieback. But you can see lower down here the growth is pretty good. So what we may end up doing in the next couple of years, we may actually just reduce the crown of this a little bit. The tree is trying to put a lot of its energy and effort into maintaining all of this at the moment, and it's struggling up here, but doing pretty well down here. So it may just thin out some of this growth up top, just to sort of get a little bit of a rest. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of a good analogy and I can't right now, which is a bit of a shame. But I was going to say kind of like chopping the leg off to save the other one, but that's not the best, not the best analogy. But anyway, there you go. So it's really nice that the traffic has really calmed down again. I know there's not a huge amount, but the woodland sounds here have been fantastic today because it is so still. So I'm hoping you guys can pick that up in the background. Just going through some of the questions here from people and check-ins. So we've got Barbara Turkington says, lovely memories of a visit with her daughter and grandchildren last summer. Well, hopefully we can welcome you back again soon. We've got a lot of memories that we've made here with people, and it's fantastic. I mean, interestingly enough, the temple lives on in its uses, doesn't it, Andrea?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's gone from being a banqueting hall, a folly, to somewhere where people can get married. And I'm sure some of you may have had your weddings here at the temple and have fantastic memories of that. We also have some other events up here because obviously, I mean, look at the view. it's breathtaking. So in the past couple of years, we've been doing things, tastings in the temple. Some of you might have even been part of that as well, and come up here and using the temple as it was used as a banqueting hall, somewhere where you can come up and have a lovely, fantastic meal prepared by our own kitchen, and brought up here and enjoying, getting together, chatting away, learning new things about a variety of white wines and red wines and other.
That's in partnership with a local distillery?
It is with
Eckingville,
yes.
Which I think actually in the current circumstances that they've turned part of their distilling production into obviously producing alcohol for hand sanitizers.
Hand
sanitizer,
they have indeed. So it's everybody's working together in these strange times. But up here, people come and they can walk. It's part of the trails, and people start here, get up and see this lovely view, and then carry on down around the rest of the trails.
Speaking of which, I think we'll continue on down the trail a little bit now. Just going through everyone's questions. Apology if I haven't got to them yet, and if I've missed any, apologies again. I'll pick them up afterwards and hopefully get answers to you. But say thank you for everyone who's joining us, and hello to everyone as well. So we've got Rosemary who's joined us from West Yorkshire. You're very welcome. Nikki says, this is one of my favourite places to walk, missing it a lot. Yeah, I think we're very lucky to be able to be one of the few essential staff that are remaining here.
Is that, there's a large bird. I don't know what
Where were we putting it? Okay. I've been so busy looking at the questions. Is it perched?
No, it's over there somewhere.
There was a buzzard here yesterday. There we go.
Might have been a buzzard. I'm afraid my bird knowledge is not as good as my Temple of Winds. I spotted it.
You spotted it, whereas I didn't. I'm too busy looking at the screen here, so we'll see
if it flies again. Yeah. We can see it. Oh, there it goes.
There we go.
There it goes. Yep.
Just sort of see it. It just flew off down that way there. I actually recorded one here yesterday as well, so I'll probably put that clip up as one of the future Mount Stewart moments this week. Okay. Jimmy says, are there any new kits have been seen around the hide? So kits, as in the red squirrel babies. We saw our first kits here at Mount Stewart, I think it was Monday or Tuesday last week, I think it was, if I remember right. It's slightly early to see them actually out and about, but it's an indication of sort of early breeding and the mild winter that we've had. So it's good news either way to see them. It was twins scampering through the Glen woodland actually, which was really nice to see. I would imagine that I will probably do another live stream from the squirrel hide at some point. I mean, it was our first live stream. It's in the archives if anybody hasn't seen it, wants to go back. We were blessed with 3 red squirrels for the entire hour, scampering around and obviously answering your questions as well. So if you'd like us to pop back there for a future live stream again, do let us know. Charmaine asked, is the temple furnished? Well, we were talking about that. I think we probably answered that. So it has the veneer flooring.
It has the veneer flooring. There's not very much in the way of furniture in it at the moment. We do have, there's a fantastic painting and it's based on actually Strangford Lough. But it's generally, an area that's kept relatively clear, mainly so you can actually see the floor, and also when we have events and everything else, we don't have to be trying to find where we're going to put the furniture to make room for the tables for the events.
It's great to see the building obviously, you know, continues to have life breathed into it as well, in those all those future uses. I'm just going to take a pause here because we've got an opportunity just while we're sort of elevated.
There's that bird again.
There you go. You guys can see that buzzard's just passed across over there, probably a little too far from the camera.
Oh.
I actually saw the buzzards mating yesterday. We've got 2 pairs on the estate. Felt a bit naughty seeing them do that. But you know, life goes on. There we go. So good morning, Jane. See who else have we got coming in? Anne Craig's checked in. Had the pleasure of volunteering at the temple a few years ago.
We are doing well. You're keeping the place going.
Linda asked, would love to see inside the temple. We did talk about that, but there's lots of alarms and things like that to deal with. But perhaps, you know, I think what's been really interesting about doing these live streams under the current circumstances is that it's probably opened up a new opportunity for us to, well, bring Mount Stewart to you if you're not able to visit.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have a discussion about this and might possibly make this a monthly thing in the future with one of the teams from somewhere. It all depends obviously on signal. We're very lucky that obviously up here we get full bars of 4G coming across the lock, which is nice. Jennifer asked, would they have used it regularly? Well, I think we answered those ones as well, possibly.
Yeah. It was a place. If you imagine, the family were nearly roughing it. This is where they came to picnic, you know. So it wasn't maybe necessarily a daily thing, but certainly in the nicer months of the year when it was warmer, and a nice stroll up to the temple, or a horse and carriage taking them up to the temple, they would have used it then. Maybe not so much in the winter. Funnily enough, actually, the temple was then used as a house at the end of the 19th century and early 20th century until the 7th Marquess and his family moved back to Mount Stewart and made this their main house. And then the families were moved elsewhere to other properties, and the Stewart family got to use their folly again and enjoyed it for what it was, the purpose of it. Again, it was a place to come for banquets and parties and get-togethers.
So Dan's just posted they got married at the temple.
Oh, fantastic!
So I'm glad to be checking in, Dan. Congratulations. What year was that? Let us know. Margaret's checked in. My favourite place. Good morning, Toby and Andrea. Good morning.
Morning.
Angela, this is on our list after the last lockdown. You'll be coming out as soon as possible. That's beautiful to hear. Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you.
Alright. There we go. Got comments back. There we go. Just catching up with everything. Pauline says, I've been a member of the National Trust for about 21 years and have yet to visit here. We'll add it to our to-do list. Oh, definitely. Pauline, we'll look forward to you arriving. Do let us know when you're visiting that you watch the live stream and it's inspired you to get over here as soon as possible. Arthur's asked what happened to the swimming pool. So this is the swimming pool at the sea plantation. Now I'm going to put a little pause on that one because I think this is possibly a whole story within itself. So there was a swimming pool at the sea plantation at one point. It's still there, but it's been filled in.
It has.
Parts of the original buildings have been demolished, but we've got We've got some things working in the background with a big research project at the moment, so we might be able to dip into that in a future clip, story, live stream, or certainly even on the estate in the future, trying to interpret that. Just catching up with all these questions here because there's lots of people watching today. It's great for you all to be joining us. I'm going to have to reset the gimbal again because it keeps losing its horizon. There we go.
It's funny, I don't actually get an awful lot of time to come and enjoy this, so it's just lovely getting out today and getting for a bit of a walk.
And the irony in all this as well is I very rarely go down to the house. Although I do key rep in the house as well occasionally, just to sort of support any gaps in the rotor. So it's good to sort of try and work cross department as best as we can in the trust, and it's including the gardens. And I'm surprised nobody's mentioned the gardens yet today, because I know people have been asking, like, are you going to do anything in the gardens? We will. I've got it planned. I'm gently prodding the gardens team to do a live stream with them from their formal gardens. They're just starting to really come into bloom at the moment. They are looking nice. We'll certainly be continuing getting some photos to you, as and when we can. But yeah, I'm hoping to do a live stream from the gardens with one of the gardens team at some point in the next few weeks. So I took a stop just over here earlier on. This camera, spin it around, there we go. Moving too fast. We were looking out from the woodlands just out across Anne's Point. Let's just see if I can sort of just take a nip over the gate here to show you. So Anne's Point is a huge area of reclaimed land. There was a seawall built, and I totally forget the year, I'm sorry. So excuse the traffic noise a minute, you might just be able to see it up over there. There's it. I don't know if you can or not. Anyway, so at Anne's Point, it's reclaimed land. There was a seawall built up. I totally forget the year, I'm sorry. There's a lovely motorbike traffic, possibly not an essential journey, I expect. And that reclaimed land, so this whole area we're just walking into now was originally basically kind of like a small estuary. There's of the Glen Burn. It was all sort of brackish salt marsh, tidal salt marsh. Now with that sea wall that was built, basically obviously excluded the tidal nature of the loch, and the stream here, which we're just approaching, the Glen Burn, became a sluiced stream. So obviously it's low tide at the moment, and it's sluicing out via Anne's Point, just underneath the stream there. And we've got a wee mallard duck there as well. But obviously when the tide is in, this backfills up as well. So now the Anne's Point seawall behind here was breached, 8 years ago. Don't quote me on that, I'll try and get the details. Basically it was continually being breached, and it was agreed with Marine Agency and everyone involved to let it breach and make a proper breach, so it becomes a tidal lagoon once again. I think it still needs a little bit more work to make it a fully tidal marsh, but what we're seeing is basically a return of this whole area back to Brackish marsh, which is an incredibly rich habitat. There's a few more bits just to point out on the stream here. So because this stream is tidal, it's still fresh water, but it's sluiced back. We get the otters coming all the way up here. They come right the way around to the back end of the estate. We recorded kingfishers here 2 years ago. I haven't seen about it, just passing through. But every now and then we see the otter spraits kind of nicely left. Now, sprate is basically poo. We see them quite often left up here on the top of the bridge for us, but it's fascinating because you can tell them straight away because they're full of fish scales and things like that. But it's fantastic that the otters actually come in from the loch up the stream through the tunnel just here, all the way up through. So I must get a trail camera on here, see if we can capture them coming up at night, so we can get some footage. Would be fantastic. Barbara was saying we were just going to ask if you were going to the garden, so yes, we will, don't worry. So during winter, when we obviously get higher water flow coming down the Glen Burn at high tides, that water will actually overtop it's a walled in stream, it's not its original course, will overtop it and flow down into this low area here. And this low area is actually about 1 metre above the mean average tide mark, so it sits below the mean high tide, so basically it's below sea level. So you can understand that the sea wall obviously held back the sea for a period of time unnaturally, and now it's reclaiming that land back to its original habitat again. So what you've got here coming up is now brackish marsh. So brackish means slightly salty. It's not quite as salty as the sea. Sea is about 3.5% saline. So this would probably be about like 1.5% saline. And I've just seen the heron just flew off. Might see it just there. Is he? No, he's gone. They've been feeding here, and you'll see why in a minute. The egrets feed down here as well, and we've recorded the grey wagtails, yellow wagtails here, all sorts of things, and it looks on first glance dead. And I know this is what a lot of people say. Oh, it looks really polluted. Oh, you know what's happening there? Well, basically, because it's gone back to a high water table here and then this salt marsh, so what you've got is the original vegetation here is basically slowly decaying, and we've had no rain for 2 weeks now, so what you're getting is a little bit of an algal bloom, so you can just sort of see it starting to form on the surface. If we look a little closer, this is where I get my feet wet possibly. Here we go. You can see what looks like a slick on the surface, but it's not actually a slick. You see how it breaks up? So it's actually just a film of oxidised organic material where underneath the water it's obviously been decomposing without oxygen, and as we've now got a bit of warmth and the water levels going down, you're just getting some of this sort of film that it soon breaks up. You can see like the algae here itself starting to bloom away. Now, I said, you know, people think this is dead, but this couldn't be further from the truth. This area here is probably one of the richest areas that we have on the estate, especially for invertebrate life. And if we just listen a minute with no traffic, can you hear all the birds? There's lots of alarm calls because we just walked down here, but there's so many birds here. I can see them all flitting around at the moment. There we go, there's a couple just up on the deadwood stands up there. So basically they are all here picking off all the little flies, and we haven't quite reached like mosh pit status here yet. With all the larvae, they're all in the water at the moment, and they're going to start hatching out soon. But we still do have, and I'm hoping we're going to catch this on camera, but this whole area is absolutely teeming with shrimp and prawns. Because it is brackish, I'm going to approach really slowly. If you look on those brown rocks in front of us, hopefully it's going to focus and I don't scare too many of them away, but it's absolutely covered in shrimp. I don't know if you can sort of see them, some of the smaller ones. If you look in the water here, hopefully the camera is picking this up. Can you see them all suspended in the water? There are millions and millions and millions and millions of these shrimp in here, and that's basically what the egrets and the herons have been eating. We have a heronry over in Patson's Hill over here. There's 4 nests this year, each with 2 chicks, which is great because it started out with none, but there are records from the early 1900s of there being in excess of 100 herons nests in that area. So we're at 4 at the moment. It's got a little while to go before we rebuild, which is it's going to take a while. Oh, here we go. Andrea's just spotted the area where you can probably, hopefully, pick these out a bit more. Let's just see. You see the log there? You see them all? There we go. They just all scooted away. All covered in all these shrimp. Right, if we look down here, we'll probably see a few more of them. You can get an idea of the amount of life this thing supports. There are thousands, every little area this has covered them. And also as well, and I did just check earlier on this morning so that we did actually have something to look at, it's not just those those shrimp. But if we look on some of the rocks here, hopefully we can find some of the other invertebrates that are in larval form at the moment. Let's pick up this rock here. I'm not going to lie, when you disturb this water it really smells because of the anaerobic digestion that's going on. But you see these little tubes here? These are all little caddisfly larvae, so they're going to be gestating soon into their adult fly form. The camera probably won't pick up loads of them, but there's loads of tiny little sort of larvae wiggling around in here as well, so they're all going to be hatching out. There'll be a big sort of mosh pit of flies over the coming weeks and months. I recorded a migrant hawker, which is a species of dragonfly that hasn't been recorded in this area before. I recorded that here last year. I've seen the common darter dragonfly here as well. They'll sort of patrol the area like this as a male and as a breeding habitat, and obviously finds a female, and the female they'll mate, and then the female will lay her eggs in like this kind of the silt and the marsh at the side of the waters here, and they literally just go plop 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 like that. Not kidding. Someone actually put a video up on Twitter last year to a plopping noise, which obviously a lot of us sort of people into this thought was quite funny at the time. Becky asked, are they Ganoderma strip? They possibly are, Becky. I still haven't had a chance to properly ID what's in here. So standing water habitat here at Mount Stewart is quite new to us. We're just embarking on restoring the various sort of ghost ponds, which is actually next week's live stream. I'm going to take you through some of the fields, some of the ponds that have been filled in the past and that we're hoping to open up again. Some of the ones that we have already opened up. So this year onwards is going to be very much a learning year for all of us to sort of see what comes and what colonises. And it's certainly not my speciality. I'm trees and moss are my main ones. But hopefully I'm going to get more into my freshwater habitat again and species as well. Linda says the Brackish marsh is my son's favourite spot on the estate. He calls it the Dead Marshes after Lord of the Rings. Yes, it does look quite ethereal, doesn't it? Obviously the standing deadwood from the trees that had colonised the area while it was dry, and obviously with their toes in water they died off. But you can see how it's naturalised quite nicely around the edge. We've got a nice area here now. These deadwood stands, they're covered in jelly ear fungus and all sorts of other bracket funguses. And we've now got, just sort of make that, see the stems at the very back there? That's yellow flag iris. So all of these, none of this was planted here. They were just waiting for the right condition again to come back. All the seeds were dormant in the ground and they've started growing. There's loads over here as well. There's cuckoo flower here. Anyway, I don't know, that's like slightly wet ground. There's lots of it on the road verge leading out of Newton Ards towards Dundonald at the moment, and it's the food plant of the orange-tipped butterfly, so hopefully local authority won't be cutting those down. It's a fantastic habitat there, right next to a road as well. So what the camera obviously isn't picking up here are the amount of flies that are sort of, they're starting to follow us, aren't they, Andrea?
They are. Yeah. Thank you.
So when they really do hatch out, you'll get these big mosh pits flying around and around and around, and you'll have all the birds that will just be sort of sat on the branches. They'll just be picking them off, obviously feeding their chicks when they hatch out. Lots of birds are sitting on eggs at the moment. I think spring is running early, and it's certainly this week has been fantastic. Bit of a frost this morning to probably check some of the growth.
So is that woodworm in that then?
So Andrea's asking, is that woodworm? Yeah. So,
I recognise the woodworm holes, but normally because I'm crying.
So obviously woodworm's a generic term for any form of larvae that burrows in wood. But yeah, good point, Andrea. So can you see there's all sorts of holes, and obviously there's different sized holes as well. So this is why deadwood's so important within the outdoor ecology is that this stuff stays around for a long time. Various wood-boring beetles, flies, there's various wood-boring wasp species. They will lay their eggs into the little cracks and crevices. Species like the wood wasp, which, they're huge. They're about the size of my thumb, actually. They're not actually a wasp, it's a horntail. Now they've got their ovipositor, which is their like egg tube. They will sit there wiggling for about 10 minutes, boring into the wood to lay their eggs, and then their larvae will be eating up and down inside the wood, and then eventually when it's time to hatch out into adult form, they'll obviously come out of the wood itself. So all these holes you see are the exuve holes, the exit holes of the larvae when they go into adult form and emerge.
It's lovely to see it on the outside, outdoors, not so much when it's in my house on the tables and the chairs and the furniture.
So yeah, one of the challenges obviously of maintaining a collection that has a lot of timber in it.
Yes, unfortunately they don't know it's a table, they just see wood.
Yeah.
And once the hole appears, the damage has already been done, because as Toby said, they're burrowing up and down this wood, eating merrily away, live to 3 to 5 years inside the wood, and then they emerge and lay their eggs, and the cycle starts all over again. So as much as they're lovely on the outside, and I can appreciate their need in the outdoors, indoors not so much.
Very, very diplomatic of you, Andrea. It's a meeting of, you can see where the sort of the buildings and the outdoors kind of clash in a few places. So yeah, you can actually see some of the dried up fungal blooms from this winter. So this is jelly here. It's just dried up there now. But there's some more flag iris coming up here actually. It's all starting to grow and seed. Now what's another interesting thing is, just I'll get my shadow out of the way. You see the mussel shells here. So I've seen this. We see this up near the back of the stables at the house as well.
I've seen it on the south terrace.
Yeah. So this is basically various bird species who are picking up mussels out on the loch and shellfish, and they'll bring it to a hard surface so that they can basically drop it, and the mussels will smash on the ground so that they can then eat them. So we find mussels all over the estate, on the estate roads, on the south terrace of the gardens, the back of house areas. I found them up at the farm before, which is good. Sort of 1.5 kilometres from the shore. So it's mostly gull species will do this, but lots of species will do this, and they'll bang them on the rocks. In fact, there's another one there. So it's nice to see. Nice to see. Lisa says the tree looks like a man's face. Now you're going to open a big can of worms for me here. I love trying to see faces in things, and I've got a whole collection of pictures from around the estate where I think there's various sort of faces of characters in trees and things like that. So maybe if you'd like to see more of that, I might start a little Twitter thread with the sort of the tree faces of Mount Stewart.
I only see the faces in the portraits. Sorry.
Kerry Fox says these are Andrea's favourite worms.
Oh, I just love the woodworm. Yes. We actually look for the damage, obviously, when they burrow out of the piece of furniture. It's actually the frass, it's the stuff they sort of push out first that we look for. So if you see the house team sort of wandering around on their hands and knees, that's what they're looking for, generally. At which point, if we do find it, we get upset.
There we are. So we're probably about coming to the end of the live stream here now. If you've got any more questions, do ask. Apologies if I've missed any. I will go back over the comments and answer any questions that didn't get answered. Sarah says, show us the faces, but not on Twitter. Okay, I'll see if I can put together a little album for Facebook as well. I'll raid my archives and get them all. I'll put them up maybe without any explanation first and see if people can sort of see what I see in them. We'll be going on to cloud shapes next, possibly, I guess. So thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope that's been a really nice little insight, and thank you to Andrea for joining us today as well.
Thank you for inviting me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's nice to be able to get out of the house.
It is. Get some sun.
So next week's live stream, next Tuesday, 11 o'clock every week, we're going to be going through some of the Southmore fields and looking at the ghost ponds. Some of the ones that haven't been restored yet, some of the ones that have, and obviously answering any of your questions about this, that and everything. It's a bit of the estate. I've put a few clips up of already so far, just a sort of snippets of what's been going on. But it'd be nice to sort of really talk in detail about this. So if you know anyone who loves their fresh water, that's going to be a live stream for them. Just passing through this lesser celandine carpets are absolutely amazing here at the moment. Beautiful. Okay. Adele asks, will we be in the gardens and the grow notes? Yes, I was saying earlier on, I'm prodding the gardens teams to do a live stream with me, and we're hoping to do one at some point in the next few weeks. The event listing that's on our Facebook page for the weekly live streams, it's got what's already scheduled. We may add some extra dates to that, depending on who is in and available at the time. But yeah, we'd love to get them. How often are these videos going to be done? So Scott, they're weekly, every Tuesday, 11 o'clock. There's a little event listing on our Facebook page, so that's facebook.com/NT Mount Stewart is the main page there, just in case you got to this through the What's Streaming function. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. I've really enjoyed today actually. It's nice having a bit of company on the walk, so you know, we're still having to do our distancing and everything as best as possible here. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us, and we'll hopefully bring you some good news soon as time progresses. And obviously the bluebells are going to be the highlight, I think, that everyone's really looking forward to at the moment. I certainly am. There's lots of sunny glades on the estate where they're really coming on quickly. So I think it's going to be a live stream in itself, just walking through carpets of bluebells. I think it's going to be absolutely lovely. So I'll leave you here just looking across to this Temple Field, Bells Hill over here, Cummins Hill, and this lovely little sunny glade here. It's one of the red squirrel's favourites here, just on this area. So thank you everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.